I know the rumors around town that black men are not up to par with the rest of the men in the world, but I just gotta flex with my black husband for a moment. My husband pays all the bills. My husband has always paid all the bills since I was literally 17 years old. Everything. Not only does he pay all the bills, he gives me money to splurge with. I have my own credit card. He takes me shopping. He buys all the groceries. I cook, I clean, but that's part don't even matter. Let me just flex on how I have a really good husband, a really good job. He helps me with the kids. He helped me around the house. He's just an all-around good guy. And the crazy thing is, y'all sit on this app like black men don't be manning, and it's not all of them. My husband goes to work and comes home to his family. Like, you don't know how much of a flex that is to be married under 31, coming home to your family, being a family man, being a black man, and treating your woman like a queen. Oh, baby. Yeah, my husband is a high value man, and it's not even just money. It's just his morals, his values, the way he was raised. Everything about him just eats down.
Okay, so a couple of things here. First of all, colorism out the door. The colorism argument out the door. This is clearly a dark-skinned black woman who is living the soft femininity luxury life, right? So the whole colorism argument completely debunked. The futurism. I don't think anyone can question whether or not this is a black woman. This is clearly a black woman. Those are not white girl features. Like let's just be honest about that. Even the black men are, even the whole the sizeism and the fat phobia. This is this woman is beautiful. This is a thick black woman. This woman is thick. Okay, some people may look at her and say that she a little too plus size, but I'm like, this is not a thick, skinny black woman. This woman got some meat on her bones. She got some meat on her bones. Now she's curvaceous in the right places, if you want to put it. But this is not this woman is not a size 4 or size 6. So she's not light skinned. Okay. She got some black features, and she's not a size 2. Like I said, she's not a size 2. This woman got some meat in her bones, but she's out here living her life. And so I wanted to say that because there is so much misconception. Because in my opinion, there's all these ideas. There's all these ideas about the things that black men aren't willing to do. And ladies always love to complain about how they're not getting with black men and they're not able to find good black men because they're colorists, because they're futurists, because they don't like curvy black women, because they don't like West African features or black features or whatever excuses ladies give as to why they're just unable to find real love. And none of that is true, in my opinion. Yes, in maybe certain instances, yes. We can all point to the athletes and entertainers with the snow bunnies. Now, they will never, ever, ever point out the athletes and entertainers that are with black women. Never. They'll always hyper-focus on that small percentage that gets with the snow bunnies. Shannon Sharp. He's blowing up because of the whole situation with the white girls, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's like, we're going to hyper-focus on the minority, but we're not willing to look at those ladies who are actually winning. That's a dark-skinned, curvy black woman with black features who is happy with her black husband. And I'm all for it. I am all for it. If you go and look at the comment section, she sat there and said he was paying since she was 17. It sounds like they were high school sweethearts. And it sounds like they've been together for some years and have some kids. And I see nothing wrong with it. I am all for beautiful black love. But I just want that to be an example that a lot of ladies who are out here thinking that black men don't like them because they're black is not true. A lot of the issues we have today, I think, goes on to programming. There's so many different things. But step one, we don't come from a culture that values marriage or empowers women to value marriage. We don't do that. It's been decades of feminism now where women have been told that they need to put men and relationships in the back burner. And that if you prioritize your life in a way that creates space for men early on, you can be called a pick-me, you can be called desperate, you can be called all kind of male identified, but you will be insulted. And so step one, women aren't even taught to value marriage and relationships. And so then they go throughout their life pursuing their careers or just having fun and having casual sex, and they get to a certain point and they're confused as to why they don't have relationships. And I'm like, it's real simple. It's because you weren't taught to value it. You weren't even taught to know how to look for it. And then after that, in the West, particularly, right, in the UK and in America, in places that are just Black people are the minority, you also live in a society where you're the minority, right? You live in a society where there are racist ideas that are floating around. And so you also have people who struggle with self-hatred. Whether they're aware of it or not is a whole different thing, but there are some self-hating ideas that go on where Black women may look at themselves in the mirror and they don't feel like they measure up. They don't feel like they measure up to the richest and the famous. They don't feel like they measure up to the dominant society. They don't feel like they measure up to white women. They don't feel like they will ever have the social status as white women. This is why, in my opinion, when you had Michelle Obama, who got up there and said, oh, she's angrier than her white female friends, although she is a multimillionaire, she was married to one of the most powerful men in the world. She has had experiences that even white women, plenty of white women will never have. She has had every honor possible, afforded to her. She still felt angry. And I think some of that comes down to the fact that even though her and her husband were in that position, she still faced racism. She still had people calling her a man. She still had people questioning her femininity. She still, even as the first lady, the previous FLOTUS, the former first lady, she's never going to necessarily have the same level that a Melania Trump would, right? Or that a Barbara Bush would. It's never going to really fully be, she's never going to have the same place that a white woman would have in society. Because she's not white. And I think she maybe knows that intrinsically in these experiences, which is why she talks about being angry, even though she's had beautiful experiences and had all kind of honor that most people in their life will never even come close to experiencing. And so, like I said, you have that. You have, again, one, the fact that we do not grow up in a culture that values marriage. Two, you have the fact that there are some people out there who just struggle with self-hatred, and there's racist ideas floating around there to this day, that impact that. And then also, you just have, I think, a general lack of trust that exists in the Black community. And I'm going to speak specifically in the West. I understand in other cultures and other places where they still have been able to maintain their indigenous culture, their language, their practices. They have their own issues. They have their own unique issues, but it might be a little different. But out here in America, I could speak of where there's this lack of identity, and Black people were literally trained to not trust each other, going all the way back to the plantation, even though that we may be a few years removed from that. Even though we may be a few years removed, or a few decades, a few centuries removed from that, that mentality for some is still there. That self-hatred, that treating white folks better, and you getting in line when you see white people and it's like, oh, I'm on best behavior. But then when it comes to ourselves, we don't treat each other right. You've had a Black woman openly admit that they treat white men better. Openly admit that they treat white men differently. Openly admit it. This is not even like debatable. This is not even like some far off idea that comes from nowhere. This is something that many people experience or pass through. And so I think there's multiple reasons. Also, not to mention that like we don't live in a culture that is cultivating, even mainstream culture is not cultivating marriage or cultivating an environment for marriage by having an economy that doesn't even allow most men to run a household. Run a household or maintain a household by themselves, which is what something women want biologically, while having an economy where men and women are actually competing economically, while women still want men to pay most of the bills. Like, so society itself hasn't really nurtured a environment that is family friendly. And so that adds a whole different component to it. So there's a lot to unpack her, but I think at the end of the day, I love this story because you had a beautiful, dark-skinned, curvy, unambiguously Black woman who is living her best life with her Black husband, having their family, doing their thing, and I'm happy for it. And I know that that's out there, and I think it's an example that for all the narrative and for all the Black men on this and that, they really are there. Just some of us aren't seeing it, and some of it could just be because of who we're around. We don't think it exists. We don't think maybe we deserve it. There's some self-hatred or whatever. But I just wanted to put this positive example out there too, because far too often we don't hear from those who are winning. We hear from all those who are struggling and got crazy standards, but you rarely hear from those who are actually doing well. And I think those are the ones who are also worth highlighting too. So Anyways, that's what I got. But what do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far. And we'll talk later, okay? Bye.